Emergency fund. You can never be sure what life will throw your way, but you can at least financially prepare for the unexpected by building an emergency fund for yourself. These savings, which should be kept separate from your ordinary savings, are ideally sufficient to cover between 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. If you have a pay cut, you lose your job, or a major unplanned expense, your emergency fund serve as the life raft to rescue you, and you would have to use your credit card. Having some direction on how and when you should use your emergency fund and when you should not use it will allow you to make the best use of your savings. What you shouldn't spend on your emergency fund on, okay? Sure, your emergency fund is technically your money, but once you've designated it for emergencies, you owe it to yourself to spend it only when it's absolutely necessary. So let's watch for periodic expected expense. And what are these? Okay, infrequent expenses can sneak up on you and sometimes feel like they are legitimate emergency expense. However, even even with annual bills and routine spending, and should be planned for along with your regular expenses. As you're building your monthly budget, consider any quarterly, semi-annual, or annual bills coming due in the next few months. For example, you should always plan for your holidays. You should plan for your birthday gifts. Every year you have special people in your life. You should plan for gifts for them. Another would be annual car registration. Okay. Another would be school expenses, enrollment, internet needs for the online schooling of your children. Another is a faithful yearly annual bill of property and income taxes. Now, not every expected expense has a date to let us know it is coming. Keep a simple savings or unpredictable incidentals like routine car maintenance, minor home repairs, medical bills for your supplements, seasonal clothing shopping for the kids. Non-essential spending. What are these? Before touching your emergency fund, always ask whether the money is going towards something essential for living. Leisure spending should always be funded with your regular wages, side income, or separate savings. No matter how urgent it may feel, your emergency fund is off limits for things like phone upgrade, laptop upgrade, wardrobe upgrade. You update your clothes, and then emergency shouldn't be used for vacations. No? And emergency should not also be used for a good sale in a mall or in a super mall, And then of course, emergency fund shouldn't be used for somebody else's emergency. Emergency funds should not also be used for financial goals. Building an emergency fund is a financial goal itself, not a source of income, source of fund for another financial goal. If you clear out your emergency savings for a major expense, you'll have nothing left to cover for any rainy days. Now, for the coming rainy days, and what seemed like a sound financial decision at the time could turn out to be a major mistake. So that means you shouldn't use your emergency fund for down payment of a car, down payment of a house. You're using your emergency fund for what else? Business startup. You start up a business. Don't touch your emergency fund. For your early retirement, don't touch your emergency fund. Confusing wants and needs is an easy way to blow your safety net on non-essential spending. Remember, needs are things you need to survive, and to keep your job and to protect your assets. And wants are upgrades to your lifestyle. So what your emergency fund is really for? What is it for? Of course, sometimes you can fall on the opposite end of the spectrum, completely afraid completely afraid to touch your emergency fund, even when it's truly necessary. As a guideline, you can tap into your emergency fund savings for the unexpected, necessary, and urgent spending. That includes, number one, living expenses for a job loss or pay cut. You lose your job, it will make you run for 6 months. Major car repairs after an accident. You need money to repair to get moving on. Emergency fund is for emergency, necessary for medical expense, unplanned hospitalization. No? What else? Unexpected travel, like something happens to your family somewhere that you need to fly and buy tickets. These are the exact types of situations you build your emergency fund for. You know, if it becomes necessary to use emergency fund, the usage should be far more necessary expenses related to housing, food, transportation. You know, it is important to remember that if the situation is so dire to the point of tapping your emergency fund, it is necessary to adjust spending habits and to allow for maximum utilization of those funds, even for true emergencies. Exploring other options before dipping into your emergency fund can help you preserve your savings. That includes eliminating extra spending and contacting billers for hardship options. You know, you rebuild your fund after you use it. Rebuild your fund afterward. If you've had to use your emergency fund, replenishing it is the key to making sure that you have access to savings the next time you're in need. After experiencing a financial setback, you might even decide to save up a little more than the often advised 6 months of living expenses. Maintaining scaled back monthly spending can leave some room in your budget to begin rebuilding your emergency fund. If you need to, it's okay to put your other financial goals on hold for a few months while you get to safely get back to your comfortable level of emergency fund. It's for the rainy days. And before anything else, before investing and doing stocks, we need to have emergency fund. Thank you.